Hello and welcome to the GLHF podcast. As always, I am your Dave Breens, and I'm here today with Ryan Woodrow.
I didn't prepare an intro.
I didn't think you did. Why would you?
No.
And today we're talking about Dragon's Dogma 2. We've both finished the game all the way through, entered New Game Plus. Much to talk about, much to discuss. Ryan, where are we starting?
Let's start at the first ending.
The first...
when you first hit the credits.
Yeah, boy.
It's great. The thing that struck me with it is there are plenty of games that do this sort of thing, but I've never seen any of them do it mid-credits, you know? It's like... and even because I went into it knowing that there was something going on. I didn't know the specifics, but I knew there was more to be had. And it was even as soon as the credits started, I was like, oh, did I miss it? Was I supposed to do something else? And then as the credits came on, I twigged I see. I see what's going on here.
I did not twig. I gotta tell you, I fought that big dragon boss about 3 times.
Oh, really?
Absolutely destroyed him, though. You know, I'm sick of the game. I'm a master.
It's not that difficult a fight, to be honest.
No, it's not. So it wasn't that bad. But then I literally had to message Kirk, and I was like, right, what am I supposed to do here?
Damn. See, I realized afterwards that all of the way the game side quests work with this hands-off approach do kind of train you for that moment.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like I'd learned how the game expects me to connect these dots.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was as you walk into the thing and there's the ghost guy literally glowing in the room, I'm I definitely need to go and talk to him. And then when it put you back to the dragon and there was because the first time I went through where you're climbing up the dragon, its heart's flashing. I was like, oh, what's that? I didn't think much of it. And then the second time it flashed again and I was like, that's when I connected the dots. So I've got the sword in my inventory. I bet I have to use that, you know?
Yeah.
Because you spend the whole main quest getting that sword and then you can't use it as a sword.
Yeah. That bait and switch with that ending, beautiful.
I love it.
I've always loved when games get a little bit meta, a little bit out of the box, especially when they haven't prepared you for it. That felt really, really good, and suddenly you have the reason to re-explore this world, even though you already did. But who knows what you're going to find this time? Who knows what objectives? Did you fight all the red beam monster things?
I did all but one. There was the one right in the corner of the volcanic island that I just didn't see. And then by the time I saw it, I was like, I'd done everything else. And I was like, I kind of just want to win the game. Fuck it, I can't be asked to go do that fight.
The one in Batal was the most interesting, I think.
Yeah, that one actually had
a run around with faces.
Yeah, they had a quest around it. It wasn't just fight a big dragon.
Yeah, that was cool. I think... if I remember correctly, I think the volcanic island one is another big dragon, literally the same one from the other, but a lot of the people from nearby join in. You just have loads of guys going at it.
Oh, that's pretty fun.
Yeah, it was cute. You know, not as good as there's the other two felt original when you first fight the dragon, the weird worm thing.
Yeah,
I was hoping that each would be original, but they threw some guys in, whatever. Feel like burying the lead here. That title drop.
Oh man, that was really good. Because it even confused me when I first opened up the game for the first time and it was just Dragon's Dogma. I was like, maybe they really are just kind of treating this as a remake. But no, actually, it was laying the groundwork for quite a reveal.
Yeah, it was very, very good. It was very, very good. Yeah, you mentioned you likened it to Ganon's health bar and Tears of the Kingdom.
Yeah,
I feel like I was struggling to think of there's a few moments in Nier Automata where they have that meta element. One of the things basically this is the spoiler cast anyway. We're gonna go in.
If you clicked on a video called Ending Explained and didn't expect there to be spoilers, I don't know what you want.
Yeah, for sure. So when you slay the dragon mid-flight with the God Sway sword, you basically unmoor the world, and the world is literally coming apart, and these red clouds are moving in, sending down monsters. The sea has apparently swallowed the sky and then disappeared, and now you can like explore a lot of the rivers and the waterways and stuff that were locked off before. So that's already pretty interesting in itself, honestly. Um, but it's like the way it made me sort of like look at the world in a new light, as well as the fact a lot of the sea areas actually are covered in fairy stones, loads of fairy
Mm.
stones for you to pick up, so you can now fast travel way more easily.
Well, you can get them super cheaply as well.
Yeah,
You get like hundreds of worm life crystals or whatever they are,
yes, you
the
do.
dragon crystals, and then you can buy them. You can buy 3 fairy stones for like 3 worm life crystals. So you can just get hundreds of fairy stones if you want. Very
Yep,
good going
absolutely.
into New Game Plus, actually.
Yeah, for sure. But see, it almost recontextualizes how you look at the world, and it reminded me of Xenoblade Chronicles X. Did you ever play that one?
I haven't played it, no, but
No.
I know what you're on about.
So yeah, like having to explore that world on foot for like 30 hours makes you look at it one way, and it like limits like certain paths of exploration because you can't jump up cliffs or whatever. Then you get a mech, and it's like it recontextualizes how you look at the world layout and how you're going to navigate it. And then you get the ability to fly at 50 hours in, and it recontextualizes it once again. I felt like the way Dragon's Dogma sort of like rescinded the seas and then like changed the overworld. That was one of those moments where I was like, okay, I feel like this whole game has been recontextualized for me. And that's quite rare. That's quite rare, I find. I don't feel that way about many games.
I feel like it paced itself, that section of the game, that final act, as I've been calling it, to avoid spoilers. When people who haven't played it yet are present, I've called it the final act,
Mm-hmm.
so don't give anything away. But yeah, I feel like it's well paced because I can see another version of that, and other games have done it as well, where they like make a massive change to the world for the finale, and then you have to sit in it for like 10-15 hours, and it becomes a weird slog. But with this, it felt more to me like we're gonna have like essentially a victory lap around all of the major locations, hitting all the major characters, and yeah, like hit the 5 boss battles, and then bam, do the final boss, we're out of here.
Yeah.
Because it pushes you to do that as well, because if you take too long, if you skip too many days, then it like parts of the world start getting locked off,
Mm-hmm.
and you lose out on people if you haven't done the evacuation and all that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did the volcanic island evacuation already, but I didn't head down to the Faceless bit to do his quest, so I missed out on that because that got locked off by the red clouds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although because I'm always paranoid with these things, I did one sleep in that entire last section because I was like, I don't want anything to get locked off. So I did like a load of the dragon fights with like half my health bar, which wasn't
Yeah,
actually
me
that
too.
difficult because I love the Mystic Spearman abilities where you can like you can just spam immunity, and then I kept
Mm-hmm.
having stamina restoring items to climb all over them and hit their weak points.
Absolutely. I didn't use curatives like at all until halfway through the game, so it has the mage with me, and it didn't seem like I was having an issue. Um, and then suddenly I started having to use healing items, and then suddenly I started using stamina items when I was climbing those like big end game monsters. That was like a nice little progression. Although having said that, as Ryan I think already knows, I never actually ended up grilling meat in the game, and therefore never got stat buffs.
I mean,
So
I didn't get them that often. Like I just very rarely camped.
yeah,
You know.
I camped all the time. I camped all the time and just never grilled. Yeah.
I've just my PS5 is I accidentally forgot to stop my recording, and it has just hit the hour mark and stopped.
Beautiful, beautiful. You see, that's how good Dragon's Dogma is. It just keeps you in, just keeps you in. Uh, yeah. As you said, victory lap. I completely agree. It just felt like a really nice tie up to everything that's happened. And it also kind of tells you like there are certain things that, like, okay, the Arbahat, Sacred Arbor is where the elves live. If you don't complete the Ailing Arbahat quest, then you won't have the person there that can actually speak your language and therefore will help you evacuate the place.
Yeah,
Um,
the guy who speaks the language is there, but the leader just straight up refuses. He's like, "Well, if the Arbahat's waning, then that means that we're destined to die. So I don't want to go." Because that's what
yeah,
happened to me. Like I just couldn't save the elves because I didn't do that quest.
yeah. Then I had a slightly different experience where not only was that guy not there because of apparently I was in love with him or he was in love with me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. not only was that the case, but I also didn't visit the Sacred Arbor after completing the Arbor Heart quest, so I think that didn't fully complete it. Didn't.
Yeah,
But
it's that is one gripe that, like, yeah, it's such an obtuse quest, and it massively locks off endgame content is a bit weird.
yeah, I think each area has something along those lines, though. Which, but you're also in those other areas so much more often. You know, like you
Oh yeah,
spend.
I barely went to the Sacred Arbor after I was done with the elf
Yeah,
quests.
exactly. I think if that quest, that exact same quest, was in Vernworth, you would have tackled it because you had that like constant reminder. You know what I mean?
Quite possibly. This is the thing. For all we know, there are other quests that, if you hadn't done them, would have locked you
Absolutely.
out, and we just didn't realize because we did them.
Yeah, and I was gonna say that it seems like there's a whole bunch of like it's strange because like this game doesn't have major permutations in the story. It's not like, oh, if you miss this quest, this huge area gets locked off. There's nothing like that. However, there are these like, oh, if you didn't get this in time, or if you gave this person the wrong item, slightly different events unfold. Certain characters might be missing if they've died or they've gone to a different place. It's subtle in that way, in how everything feels different, and that's a unique one for me.
Yeah, I like. Um, I like the way that it finds ways around the player, like where a Bethesda game will just make it so that you can't kill certain NPCs. Dragon's Dogma and like Baldur's Gate did this as well, where yeah, if you can kill anyone you want, and the game will just find a way to make it work, even if they were main story important.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And it does help that they have an in-universe excuse as why just anyone can be revived at any time.
Yeah, absolutely. When I first started playing the game, one thing I really liked was how pawns were contextualized. I did play a bit of Dragon's Dogma 1, but honestly, I can't really remember too much of it.
I didn't play it.
No, it's fine. But when I was playing Dragon Ball Dogma 2, like I said, pawns are contextualized like these in universe beings which are from another dimension almost, and they're subservient but only to like certain creatures. It's like there's a really strange ethereal element to them, but also that's kind of what you want from this like AI companion that follows your every command. It's like almost very custom designed for like a gameplay purpose, and then later on in the end game, you like you say talk to that spirit bloke in the quote unquote credit section. A lot of cars driving past my house today, apparently.
Apparently so.
Yeah, yeah, there is a like a fucking 70 mile per hour motorway very nearby.
Oh
What are you gonna
really?
do? Yeah. Um. So yeah, lots of fuck me. Where was I? Where was I?
I'll
Oh
be
yeah,
honest, I forgot.
right. You meet up with the ghost guy in the quote unquote credits,
Mm.
and like it's again very meta about the way he says this has been your story. Your story ends this way. You're supposed to sit in the chair and it's done. And then when you go to the unmoored world, he's like, you have like taken fate from its bounds or whatever, and like you're going to change the story. And when you enter New Game Plus, he's like, a new story will unfold, but it's not one I will bear witness to. It's again a very fascinating like meta narrative about this created world which exists for a singular purpose and the will of the player unmaking it. Like it's
Mm.
very fun. Like JRPGs often ask you to kill God, and it's almost like God is the developer here. And it's like
Mm.
I wanna unmake the story and do it again.
It is great. That moment is slightly undercut by the fact that the voice acting is not very good.
Yeah, sure.
When he starts to like do the pained and like screaming out sort of
Yep.
voice, it
Yep.
was funny.
Yeah. Yeah. In general, to be fair, like I feel like there's a lot of dialogue in this game which comes off more funny than serious.
Yeah,
The,
some of it feels like it is a bit intentional though.
yeah, for sure. But yeah, yeah, it's an interesting game in that sense. I feel like I'm not going to blame the voice actors necessarily, but I think it's the delivery and the way the game paces the lines between lines.
Hmm.
Like that's an understated thing that not a lot of games can get right. There's not a lot of games where you can hit like auto play on the dialogue and it will all come out sounding natural like a conversation. Very
Oh
few
yeah,
games manage to do that.
yeah.
So I can't blame it too much. I think it might be just a case of how you have to like manually push through each line.
Yeah, no, that's fair. It is just like it's not it's not a game that's like huge on story anyway, in terms of just how the story's told. Like it there aren't many like dedicated cutscenes and stuff. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it tries to take a back seat and let the overall narrative more just serve as, you know, window dressing and context to everything that's going on. You know, this is why that I've seen comments saying like people want a game that's like this level of world interaction and exploration, but with BG3 style writing. You know, and sort of like an in-depth character stuff. And that's the other thing with the pawns. You know, when I was first like, oh, your party's just filled with these, you know, avatars created by other players. It's like, it is disappointing that you don't get dedicated companions with proper stories,
Mm-hmm.
but it it allows you to imprint upon them and create your own stories. You know,
Sure.
with pawns, other people's pawns that you will just end up getting attached to because you just find them very useful. And like, I I will immediately like dismiss them because they're too lower level. But then because I've been traveling with them for so long, whoever the player is that owned them has now leveled up, and I can immediately rehire them at a better level.
Yeah.
And you do just like, and the game sort of plays into that because the different rift stones like give different categories of pawns. You know,
Mm-hmm.
there are some that only give a couple of unique pawns, like the Sphinx Father one, and there are ones that, in fact, I just found one in New Game Plus that it only shows you female pawns of large stature. So
Yeah. I think I found a riftstone of uniformity, which was like it was only pawns which had the moniker Katana.
oh, really?
Which I think that's because my pawn had the moniker Katana.
Ah, right, interesting.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah.
That,
There's a lot of
that was
interesting decisions.
the moniker one was something I found weird because it lets you put in whatever name you want, and then there's a moniker. But and
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was going to be like characters would say the names,
Yeah, me too.
but they don't.
No,
So
no, they
I
don't.
was a bit like, what's the point in the monikers then?
Yeah. Not still not 100% sure on that one. Honestly, still not
Yeah, no,
100%. But my moniker is Beautiful Joe. So
nice.
yeah. Um. Okay. Yeah. I think we've mostly covered it. Just I feel like the fucking headline is that like that title drop, that like unmoored world unveiling, that was a moment which like turned Dragon's Dogma for me into a game which was like incredibly good in my opinion, to a game that I knew I was gonna like remember really really fondly, you know.
Right. That was the thing that made me sit there and think, wow, like no other game has done this.
Mm-hmm.
Like there are plenty of like up until then I was like, yes, this is a really good RPG, but also it's like the kind of RPG I have played before, and it's a 10 out of 10 version of that formula, but it's something I have seen before. And then this was like, oh no, this game has something like special to offer, and
Yeah,
I would implore people to play it just to see this.
yeah,
You know?
yeah, absolutely. It feels great. It feels great. Is that it? Are we done?
Yeah, I sort of like my general mood. It's always this weird thing, right? I have what I call post RPG depression,
Mm-hmm.
which I have it with like long JRPGs and stuff where it's like I've dedicated 50 to 100 hours into this game, and then the credits roll and you just kind of feel a bit empty.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like satisfied, narratively satisfied because the game's great, but you're like,
Yeah.
damn, this game has now created a hole in my days until I find a new game. And yeah, it takes a special game to get that sort of feeling out to me. And while I was sitting there watching the credits, the proper credits for this game, that feeling definitely hit me. You know,
Absolutely. Yeah, I didn't play much yesterday. I didn't play much the day before because I finished it the day before that. Wait,
Mm.
yeah, that's right. And honestly, I've just felt a little bit lost. I felt a little bit lost. I've just sort of been sitting around like, what do I do with my life now? Where are we?
Unlike you, I do still have to play Final Fantasy Rebirth. So
Yeah. Okay. No, that was 108 hours of my life I gave away already.
yeah, I've still got to get that.
Where are you at in that?
Uh, I've just cleared out like most of the open world activities in Junon.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, all right. Enjoy taking another month for that.
I was going to say, I've still got a long way to go.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much for listening to our Dragon's Dogma 2 spoiler discussion. It's really good, isn't it? Which I'm assuming you already know if you're listening to this. Thanks. Bye.
Ta-ra.